Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Steve Miranda.
Great. Thank you, everyone, and good morning. How's everybody doing on Monday morning, bright and early? All right. I appreciate that. This is about as enthusiastic as I get, so we'll have to see how we go. Seriously, before I start, it's a tremendous honor to be here in front of you today representing our customers and our team. And what I really want to encourage all of you here to do, particularly our customers, is talk to each other. We've put in a lot of work, not only this last year, but over the last several years in developing our cloud applications, moving our customers to cloud applications. And what I hope you'll see coming out in every session this year is just the passion that we put into everything and the success that our customers are having in this business transformation. And I encourage you to talk to each other, find out what others have done, share tips amongst each other, and then come to us and share that feedback. Because unquestionably, the focus and the effort from our team is all about the customer and all about making you successful, and we try to pride ourselves in that every single day. So please take advantage of every session you can, talk to each other, and hopefully you get a lot out of this session as well. So I'm going to talk about the future of business and future of cloud and really how our customers can take advantage of the investments we make. And I'll break it down into three different perspectives. So first off, talking about why we believe moving to the cloud is an imperative for every business today. Second, I'm going to talk to you about what we believe we at Oracle bring as unique advantages that you customers could take advantage of and really drive your business to success. And then finally, I'm going to talk about really the imperative of why it's so important to move now. I hear all the time from small customers to large customers, some concerns, some questions, and particularly the large customers, now is the time, and if you're a small customer, now is the time to really take advantage of it. And I go through a little bit of our perspective as well. And during the session, I'll have three of our customers come on stage to give you their view and their business transformation, business problems that they have, one in each area, starting from financials to human resources and our CX suite of products. So you can share their perspective as well. So let me start off with, well, why is it that we're spending so much time talking about the cloud from a business perspective? So of course, what you've probably heard about the cloud technically, the fact that it's in our data center, not in our customer's data center, the fact that we do the system administration, et cetera. You get some cost savings of doing it as a rent as opposed to own model. But really the area that we are most focused on is speed. Speed of innovation and speed of change. And we have seen not only technology change, but business process change and business opportunity change. Not a day goes by where I'm not talking to a customer who has an opportunity to disrupt or change the way they've done business, or who have a competitor who are disrupting or changing the way they look at the competitive landscape. And you see just a sampling of what's happened over the last several years. And a couple years ago, I stood up here and talked about the new normal, and that was sort of the catchphrase of the time, that things were changing and this is the new normal and what to expect. But what we've also seen is not only dramatic change happening, both technology and business-wise, but that speed of change is ever increasing. It is getting faster and faster and faster. New technologies are introducing new business models, new organizations to disrupt the way to do business, or giving you new opportunities to change the way you do business and enter new markets altogether. Then new technologies come off of that, or sometimes the business change inspires new technology and it moves faster. But the only constant has been change, and the speed of change is only increasing. So to that end, when we look at our cloud-based applications, we knew several years ago we had to do something fundamentally different. We had to come to a model where we could keep up with the business change. And the imperative or the blocker that was preventing us from doing so was sort of the structure and the whole dynamic of the way we used to do business with an on-premise piece of software, where we would shift the software, our customers would do the best they can to implement it, but ultimately they had to customize, extend by third-party applications just to make it work for you. And what that meant was, as soon as we innovated and we built something on your behalf, you'd want to take that update. Unfortunately, that update was very costly to do. It was very time-consuming to do, and to some extent, it was very risky to do. And so we got into a vicious cycle, where we would put out releases once every 2 to 3 years, frankly, very unpredictably. Our customers would then wait to adopt it because of that unpredictability, and got into maybe a 3, 5, 7 sometimes as much as 10-year update cycles and upgrade cycles, and this was industry common across the board, not only from our customers, our competitive customers going forward. And when you pair that with the speed of change, it becomes impractical for you to partner with an organization that can't deliver you change at the speed, and it became impractical for your organization to wait for the speed of change. So to move to the cloud, we've moved to a brand new release cadence. We've in fact done away with upgrades. We deliver software updates. Just as on your phone, you get an application, periodically the app gets an update, you press update, downloads the application, it works. And if you want new things that have been delivered to the application, you turn those new features on. You turn those new features on at the time you see fit, but you're always current, you always get delivered that innovation. And along with that comes brand new user interface, brand new interaction paradigms, a lot of hosts of new things that come automatically. So we've taken that model and moved it to our software as a service model. So now from CX to core ERP, including manufacturing, EPM financials, projects, and over the HR, core HR, benefits, payroll, giving you continuous quarterly updates forever. And this is going to continue. So now we have a very predictable release cycle. We have release 19A, which will be out in January. 19B will be out in April. Release 22A will be in January 2022. Release 24B will be out in April 2024. Continuous updates. But more than that, we also have immediate and precise feedback loops. So since all of our customers are now on all the same releases, and since we have sophisticated telemetry on the applications, we can now monitor which features are being used, which features aren't being used, which features are fast, which features are slow, and get direct input based on real customer usage to help us tune the application. And so when you combine all these things together, we've gone from, frankly, a vicious cycle of slow to update, very little feedback, slow adoption, to a virtuous cycle of fast to adopt, fast to innovate, fast to change. And this becomes even more important now with the pervasiveness of machine learning, and that's what I'm going to spend some time talking about today. And we've now at this stage, so if you follow this through this journey, we started off several years ago. We introduced the concept of our cloud-based applications called Fusion. We started to build them out. We had our initial early adopter customers. If those of you here several years ago, they were all wearing red vest. Then we had some early adopters who were going live. And now, every session you go to, you'll have live customers with successful business benefits. Small, large, multinational, domestic companies of all parts of the world, a variety of different industries, using everything from our ERP and HCM like Caesars, to ERP and supply chain for an Office Depot customer, Hearst using EPM, Pella Windows using our HCM suite of products, a company like YRC Worldwide using both ERP and HCM, and then Eaton using CX products for their partner relationship management. Really, across the board, across the spectrum, a complete set of successful customers in all the product lines that we have, coming from all of the on-premise products, Siebel, PeopleSoft, eBusiness Suite, JD Edwards, and others, who've successfully moved their businesses to the cloud. And we're going to hear a lot about that today. So that's a little bit about the business imperative of the cloud, the speed of innovation, the increase of technology, the reactiveness and opportunity to take advantage of business change. So what does Oracle bring that help us uniquely meet the needs of customers who have this challenge in terms of your business and your technology? And we believe we've built the world's most complete and now world's most innovative software suite of applications, with innovation and machine learning and business intelligence for business outcomes across the board: HR, ERP, CRM. And I'm going to focus on just a few areas in today's session. I'm going to talk a lot about machine learning and the different ways of that machine learning surfaces in terms of specific applications, specific interaction models or user interface models, and specific extensibility or a broader use of it, things like IoT and blockchain. And I'll give examples across the board. Now, pervasively, the way to think about it is as follows. And this is sort of both what we have in reality today and what you'll see more and more coming out from our applications. So when you move to machine learning, you move from a rules-driven application to a model-driven application. What do I mean by that? So the way it used to work is you used to have to set up rules on how you wanted the system to behave. You set up everything from here's how my home page is laid out to, let's say, here's how my approvals should look. And here's the workflow for the approvals and who has to approve what based on certain limits, certain products, et cetera. You can still do that today. However, with machine learning, we think we can offer you some suggestions and some improvements on that. So instead of having a hard-coded rule for approvals has to follow this model, you can then have a model-driven approach that says, yep, that's our default rule. But guess what? If we notice that a certain type of transaction always gets approved, we can fast-track that. But if we start to notice that a different type of transaction gets questions coming back, it gets sent to a certain person, we can actually directly route that to the appropriate person based on the attributes of the transaction. And that doesn't have to be the same for every user. If your company behaves differently than another company going forward, even though you have the exact same rules, that machine learning will kick in and it will route that appropriate to what your group does. That moves it from both static and to contextual actions. This is a little bit like if you're a consumer today and you use your text messaging or you use Siri in any kind of way. So if you and I both send a text message, we get the suggestions at the bottom for what words we use. Now, we can have the exact same typo, but give different suggestions, because the words I text all the time differ from the words you text all the time. And so it is not a rules-driven approach where the rule is, if this is the typo, here's how you respond to it. It's a model-driven approach, where the application starts to learn based on what you do, the context of what you do, and personalizes that towards your use. And we believe that this is going to fundamentally change the way you set up, configure, and change the applications from purely an input and validate application to a push and suggest application. Again, think of your SMS example. It's not just where you are typing something, it's taking input and you send it. It is suggesting to you to make your life easier. And it's a very simplistic example, but I'm going to give you applications example where you use that concept pervasively across the board. So when I talk about machine learning and AI, we're going to focus on three distinct different areas. The first being sort of brand new application spaces, what we call adaptive intelligent applications. So these are new applications or application features basically where we didn't really do anything like that before. We've added a new function. In some cases, we call it an app. In some cases, a feature to an app. But it's basically now we have the ability to do some function we never had the ability to do before. The second is all about intelligent UX. So this is taking what I will call our traditional HTML or mobile interfaces and making those interfaces smarter, making the layout more dynamic, making the workflow rules more dynamic, making the defaulting more dynamic. Again, not based on rules that you had to set up beforehand, but based on observed behavior, not only at the company level, but at the person level. So in other words, and it's contextual to time. So if you have certain users in your organization who do the same task at the end of the week, or at the end of the quarter, or at the end of a particular life cycle, like a marketing event, the system learns, recognizes that, and starts to default that. So taking the traditional UIs and make them more user-effective and simpler to use. The next type we'll talk about, which is very popular these days, is conversational agents or bots, which is basically taking certain sets of transactions, particularly self-service transactions and inquiry transactions, and making them available really through a variety of different front-end user interfaces, from phone, SMS, Siri, Alexa, Google Home, Slack. And guess what? If in a year or 2 or 3 years there are other user interfaces that come about then, it is just a bot which routes your transactions going forward. So brand new conversational UIs we were talking about before. So in those three categories, what have we done? First, in the first category, around adaptive intelligent applications. In every product area, we've used machine learning to give you new applications or new features within the applications we couldn't have been before. In CX, added a host of activities around recommendations. If you're in the e-commerce perspective or in the sales perspective, what we call next best offer. So the ability to monitor what people have bought from you in the past based on the type or category or grouping, suggest things going forward. or next best action in the support perspective. When you call in for service, to be able to determine, well, what is the next best action? And again, not a rules-driven approach, but a machine learning-driven approach that gets more effective and better over time in usage. In supply chain, I'm going to talk later about IoT and supply chain planning, two very industry-specific machine learning applications. But also in areas like ERP and EPM, taking machine learning to help improve payment and payment optimization around making decisions on how you deal with your cash position or how you deal with your suppliers. Again, based on feedback that the rule system has learned over time, not static rules, but evolving over time. And then finally, in HCM, a number of areas, including machine learning around recruiting, to help you find the best potential candidates for the roles based on attributes which you've determined are the successful candidates in your past. But again, the machine learning, it's not a static-driven rule. So as those suggestions come forward for interviews, and as you determine who you actually hire, the algorithm adjusts. And it adjusts to who you hire so that in the future, you start interviewing those people first and going forward. So just a sampling of the areas that we've added machine learning in terms of adaptive intelligent applications. So now I'm going to get to some of the others as we go through. And this is going to go pretty quickly. The slides are going to be available, or if people watching streaming, you see this. But in every single product area, here's what I'm going to talk about. On the left-hand side, the left-hand side of the screen, you basically see our last 3 releases. And so if you just want a sense of that speed and cadence of things, in ERP and EPM, over the last year, we had over 600 features added to the product set. For 100 in release 18A, over 200 in 18B, over 300 in 18C. And on the right-hand side, you just see some highlights of what's been added. In particular, in ERP, had a brand new subscription management capability. As we've noticed more of our customers moving to the cloud, we saw more and more customers moving from product-centric companies to subscription companies. And even if you sold your product traditionally, now you may offer that as a subscription or you may offer that as a service. Oracle being one example, but we see many, many companies moving to this model. We have a brand new subscription management system to take advantage, to handle orders, revenue recognition, payments, everything full life cycle of subscription and contracts. In the AI space, announcing this week, and those of you who will be in this very same room on Wednesday, you'll actually see Larry Ellison demonstrate an expenses bot. Expenses bot where you can take a photograph of the expense report, again, platform agnostic. I think he'll be using Slack on an iPad, but you can use it for an iPhone. And it's not just character recognition. So of course it does character recognition to determine what the receipt is. It determines whether it's a lunch receipt or meals, hotels, gas, Uber, etc. But if it happens to be a meal, it can determine based on the time of the receipt, is this lunch, breakfast, dinner? If it has the number of attendees, it has that defaulted in it. And then it uses machine learning to enforce policy rules based on your own organization's approval system. So in other words, at the time the employee is going to submit the expense report, it will determine and give them guidance as to if it's out of policy, if it's likely to be reviewed, if it's likely to be rejected, if it's likely to be approved, more than just character recognition on the receipt, but a true machine learning expense report through a modern user interface. And it's going to be interesting on Wednesday to see Larry's meal to see if that's within expense policy or not, but I'll leave that up to you guys on Wednesday. In addition to that, across EPM, we've had a number of performance management adaptive intelligent applications around automated account reconciliation and automated performance management. So the way I like to think of this is take what you've traditionally done in terms of account reconciliation and audit and really put machine learning on it with what machine learning does best. Use pattern matching and recognition to determine suspicious or potentially suspicious transactions and supplement and push that to your end users. You can still do audit in the way you do today. You can still do reconciliation as you do today. But again, the system moving from an input only into a push and suggest type of system. And again, this is just a sampling. I talked about 3 or 4 features of the more than 600 features we added this year. There's many sessions to cover, and I encourage you to talk to our customers about it. So now, to take that lead, I'm going to talk to one of our customers about it. So I'd like to invite Chris Wood. Chris is the VP of Transformation at Federal Express. If Chris would join me on stage. Come on board, Chris. Thanks for joining us today, Chris. Really a pleasure to have you here.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here, Steve, and participate in another Oracle OpenWorld.
That's great. So, Chris, obviously, I think most everybody knows Federal Express, and in fact, they probably I'd be shocked if somebody doesn't have a package being delivered at their door when we speak here. So, but maybe it gives people a background of what they don't know. They know Federal Express, but a little bit about your role there, some of the kind of business challenges, maybe some facts and figures about Federal Express they may not realize.
Sure. Most people are familiar with our small package delivery, but we're much more than that. We're really a provider of full-service supply chain management and logistics management for your global needs. And to do that, we have a team of over 450,000 team members located and operating in 220 countries around the globe. We fly 670 aircraft. We have 180,000 trucks. We have 50,000 North American drop-off facilities, a true global scale and size of operations. But perhaps one of the things we're most proud of is our delivery of help and hope to people in need. So last year alone in America, we delivered to victims of natural disasters over $3 million, 65,000 tons of relief supplies, and 70,000 meals in the last year alone.
That's great.
And thank you. As far as my role goes, I think I'm blessed to have the best job I've ever had in my career. Through my finance experience, I've had different positions in accounting and controllership and so forth. But right now, I'm focused on leading a team of professionals of about 120 people that do program management, project management, and support our back office enterprise operations on a global basis. So it's like an internal consulting group, and we get to move around the world and travel and implement things like Oracle Cloud and other solutions in our back office.
Yeah, so one of the reasons we asked you to be here today is being in charge of transformation across 450,000, you said,
yes.
Employees? Okay, so just a small role group. Okay, so maybe give the audience some background in terms of the Oracle footprint. Probably focus on the financials and financial supply chain area, sort of where you've come from and what you're running today, for some context again for the group.
Sure. Well, at FedEx, we pride ourselves in being about transformation and leading change. And one of the things we're doing now internally is to lead change in our own back office. So although we've done over the years a good job of staying abreast of technology, we feel, and we've been on a single global instance of PeopleSoft on-prem, we know it's time to take it to the next level, and we chose Oracle Cloud to do that. And some of the things we're trying to achieve are to increase our productivity, improve our security and controls, enhance our analytics capability, and reduce the risk to operate.
And that single global instance, you won't have to share the numbers, but I think people could gather, given the size and scope of your business, 220 countries, and like I said, probably everybody in the audience actually uses you in some way, shape, or form. Right. Massive volumes, fair to say. Massive
volumes. It's a $65 billion company transacting on $12 and $15 transactions, so that's a lot of transactions.
That's right. So, yeah, I see the calculators coming out right now. So, and then the move to the cloud. So you were formerly on PeopleSoft. In the transition, can maybe give people a flavor of that, kind of what's moved to cloud, and sort of what you see the vision being?
Sure. Well, we're moving our ERP and our and our EPM and parts of our supply chain management to the cloud. Some of the reasons we've chosen to do that are probably similar to the reasons that are motivating a lot of your customers. We're looking at, we wanted a way to have ready access and availability from anywhere in the world because we're spread out, as I said earlier, in over 220 countries. We wanted to integrate our acquisitions in an easier and more timely way. We really appreciate the cutting-edge technology and functionality that's in the tools, and the fast cycle updates that you mentioned just a few minutes ago. Constantly getting the latest features delivered to us each year is something that's very important to us. And it was just also an opportunity to address an urgent need we had around a recent acquisition, and we began with that early on.
Right. Well, that's what was sort of fascinating to me, because while it's the scale that Federal Express has, initially it's that acquisition. So for those customers in the audience who may be a smaller company, essentially what you're doing is sort of a small company implementation inside of a big company. Is that
correct? I've found in my career that often to get things done, you need to find the intersection of need and strategy. So we knew we wanted to move to Oracle Cloud. We needed a burning need to drive us there. And one of the first ones was an acquisition we did here in the States a couple years ago, our Genco acquisition, now our supply chain unit. And we needed to rapidly replace their systems because their systems were aging and on end of life. And we decided that since we wanted to begin a cloud journey, we'd start with that in mind. Right. And we finished that conversion in 12 months and went live this past December, and everything is going pretty well. From there, we would have usually gone through our smaller and medium-sized companies, gradually building to the largest one, but because of an even more recent acquisition of TNT, which is a European-based shipping firm headquartered in the Netherlands, and the largest acquisition we've ever done, there's a burning need to integrate that quickly to achieve benefits and reduce risk. So we are now on an international deployment of Oracle Cloud to that new acquired company and to the existing FedEx operations in the cloud.
And just to give your team a lot of credit, I think one of the things that we went really well, or is going really well, is the fact that though FedEx was doing a smaller implementation first, they set it up with that global footprint in mind. So now as you're adding the acquisition and ultimately adding all the FedEx, it's the same configuration, same global business process, just adding more things. We'll make it easier going forward.
Exactly.
So maybe a little bit off the Oracle apps specifically, or if you go into Oracle apps, we're talking a lot about innovation. I talked about machine learning. I'm going to talk more about that. Where you sit, what are the type of things you guys are looking at technology-wise or innovation-wise? What do you foresee coming, or what would you ask of us to kind of build out, anything like that, kind of innovation components?
Well, I think it's follow your strategy. It's executing on the strategy that you just laid out. If you can continue to provide those updates with new features and functionality and incorporate the latest trends in technology into those updates, it helps companies like us move through those sort of implementations much faster. As you pointed out, ordinarily it would take us, we'd have a multi-year cycle to do upgrades, and it would be costly and risky for us. Delivering on exactly what you said is what we need. Typical FedEx fashion, the faster the better.
The faster the better, exactly. You guys have a bit of a higher bar than every quarter, so we deliver. Chris, can't thank you enough for coming and sharing with the audience. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. So I think the last part there that Chris touched on is, probably what I haven't been able to articulate as well, which is, though I talk about machine learning and different user interfaces and different feature functions, the real key is this is set up it's a foundational setup for forever. And so as we're in this model now, whether we're talking about something else in 2 years or year and a half other than machine learning, the same rapid adoption of technology is in place, and our customers in cloud are ready to take advantage of that, whatever that may be. So now, let me move forward a little bit to supply chain and manufacturing. So here's where we probably had the largest acceleration over the last year, not only in features that you see, but in particular on go-live customers. We really, really pushed hard on supply chain manufacturing, order management, and frankly, over the holidays in the new year, and then over the June, July 4th weekend, tremendous amount of volume customers going live. Over 100 new features in Release A, ramping up to over 300 new features across manufacturing, warehouse management, order management, the full supply chain scope and feature. And then, similar to others, really machine learning throughout. And in supply chain happens to be one area where there are specific applications geared towards that machine learning. And in our case, we built out a set of IoT applications to enable the modern supply chain. So a set of IoT applications which ingest tremendous amount of data from sensors, either sensors on your supply chain or sensors on your end product, and has a host of applications supporting that. So not just the big data, but applications that do prediction for asset monitoring, again, either your supply chain or your products, production monitoring, your fleet monitoring to see how the transportation is going throughout your fleet, a connected worker to, again, to track the individuals and the jobs that individuals are doing, and service monitoring to monitor and have predictive maintenance, predictive replacement and repair to help you optimize your goods and services. And again, with the general theme of going from a input type system where you tell us if something is wrong and you tell us if something needs repair and replace and we execute it, to a predict and suggest type of system where we, based on data, predict to you what is going to happen and to give you a much more positive and proactive input to manage your business. And at this conference, we're introducing our first set of supply chain applications really based on the blockchain. And the way to think of blockchain as a technology is essentially a single guaranteed record shared across trading partners. And what that allows you to do is come up with some very interesting use cases around tracking throughout the supply chain. So we've introduced applications around intelligent track and trace, lot and lineage, which has applicability to a number of different industries where you need to track not only the end product, but the actual lineage of the components of the parts that you've built up. Some intelligent cold chain, and then warranty and usage tracking. So at this conference, you have a whole session on the blockchain application we've just introduced, where we utilize that technology, but utilize it for an application-specific use case throughout the supply chain. Moving on then to HCM. Once again, ramp up of features, greater than 600 features across the board. And the big highlights of this year, a brand new mobile responsive user interface. So a completely revamped user interface, really streamlining the navigation flow, and streamlining the navigation flow so that it works on all shape of devices through mobile responses, whether on a traditional browser, on a tablet, which is either large or small, right down to a mobile device. With the simplified navigation, together with the mobile responsive design, allowing you to do every transaction on the device where it makes sense in a tremendously streamlined, much more direct approach to the transactions. And this past year, we also introduced our Recruiting Cloud, the integrated, brand new written, again, on the mobile responses design, recruiting, which has the adaptive intelligent applications that I talked about before to help you on this candidate sourcing, and also has a very nice user experience on the candidate sourcing side of things, so you can have a beautiful looking recruitment page directly off of your portal and construct it such that it looks identical to the rest of your home page. So it's not just an application. If you were Federal Express and you have a /jobs or /careers type of page, actually make it look and feel and fit the look of your page for recruiting application. In addition to that, in HCM, we've added a new Experience Design Studio. So what we found is many customers were configuring the workflow as well as the individual attributes across the screen. So we introduced a brand new Design Studio on top of the brand new UI to make it easier for you as an end user to configure the workflow and configure the transaction going forward. We've gotten tremendous feedback on both this and the new design throughout HCM. And then in HCM is probably the prototypical area where we've added the bot support or the conversational user interface support that I talked about at the beginning. Conversational user interface for anything from tasks, approvals, inquiry, and transactions. And in fact, it probably got the strongest reaction I've ever had of rolling out a product at Oracle when we rolled out what we called the HR bot. Essentially now at Oracle, we have a bot, part of the standard product, which is an SMS interface or a Slack interface into our employee directory. So if I want to know where somebody is in the world, their phone number, who works for them, what the email address of who works for them, who their direct report, or who they work for in terms of their management hierarchy, what time zone they're in, what cost center they're in, a full directory search at your fingertips, no VPN, no browser support, just send a text, the bot sends it to you, back to you automatically. And with machine learning on the background, which has actually even surprised me, that the extent you can butcher names and how you spell them, and somehow it's figured out who I'm talking about and gives me the right person going forward. So a tremendous advancement, and it's, again, client agnostic. So we've also are in the process of registering an Alexa skill, so you could literally be at home, working from home, have your Alexa or your Google Home or your Slack, and have the same bot capability that you have internally for your HR system. Again, a very nice example of this going forward. Once again, that's just a sampling of the features across HR. Encourage you to go to the different sessions, talk to all of our customers. And once again, I want to talk to one of our customers. So let me welcome on stage Faye Garrett from Cummins. How are you? Faye, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
So I know many in the audience know about Cummins, a large organization, but maybe you can give some background on what Cummins does. Backdrop, I think actually a lot of people are probably customers. They may not realize it indirectly.
I hope they are.
And what your role there is.
Cummins is a global power leader. We design, manufacture, sell, and support our products. We diesel and alternative fuel engines and power generation sets. We service those products across our company-owned as well as independent distributors and dealers in more than 190 countries around the world. We have a large employee footprint with more than 58,000 employees around the world that we support every day.
Now, and that's a very diverse group of employees in terms of different types of jobs and different types of roles from the HRIS perspective.
It is. We have large manufacturing sites all over the world. We have service technicians that are out on site supporting our customers at their locations, whether it's a mine site or anywhere in the world. And certainly we have call centers supporting our customers and our employees as well.
So as a director of IAS, you have to deal with employees who are at their computers or at a desk all day, but probably many who don't have a work computer at all and never will and just deal with you through whatever interface.
That's right. So our service technicians work a lot on mobile devices, so it's really important for us that they have access no matter where they are.
Right.
In our manufacturing sites, they don't have, we have kiosks in some of our locations, but it's important for them to have access.
Right. Okay, so maybe now can you give it some background? Obviously you use our HR application, but maybe a little bit of history of the footprint of what you used before or what you're using now.
We implemented a single global instance of Oracle EBS on-premise back in the early 2000s. We started in 2003 actually, so we've had a lot of our data, all of our data in one instance for many, many years. At the time we implemented EBS, there wasn't one single application that met all of our business needs, especially in the talent management space. So we either purchased, used single application purpose applications and integrated those with EBS, or we designed our own. We're very creative and innovative. We designed our own, customized an application, or we used manual processes.
Okay.
But in the last few years, the footprint has changed. The technology footprint has changed, and it's given us the ability to now progress our vision of having a more integrated approach to our technologies.
Right. And so that sort of extensions and wrote your own and different around the talent management space, I think stealing a little bit of Chris's phrase, the need, the combination of the need and having the capabilities now and technology changes, that sort of brought you to the Oracle Cloud, did it not, as far as in the talent management space?
It has. Cummins is a technology company, and every day our employees deliver for our customers innovative solutions and products that progress their business and support them. Our employees deserve and expect the same level of innovation when they're interacting with our HR technologies as they deliver every single day for our customers. So we owe it to them to give them a more innovative approach, and which is why the cloud is important for us.
Yeah, and that's a kind of the recurring theme that we hear from our HR customers is that the employee market, if you will, has become much, much more competitive. And I think all of your employees are just getting used to things. They may not have a computer at work, but they now have a computer at home, they have phone, they have apps, so the bar is raising for your role incredibly fast.
Yeah, employees expect to have a similar experience with technologies inside the company as they have in their personal lives.
Right.
And so when we owe it to them, all of us, I think, that are in this field, in the technology field, to keep the employee in mind. It's up to us to deliver the most creative, innovative approaches and have access for them, whether they're on their mobile device in a mine site someplace, or in our manufacturing sites, or at home, or in the office, of course.
And could you give us just a flavor of the implementation in the cloud? So you had eBiz on-premise, core HR, and moved to talent management in the cloud.
That's right.
A flavor for how that's going, highlights, lowlights, anything you want to share?
Yeah, one of the things that's really important for us is having an integrated approach for our employees. They don't really care too much about what technology we use. That's my view.
Yeah.
They want to make sure it's easy, it's simple. They don't want to think about where do I go to log into a certain application. They just want it available to them all the time.
Yeah.
And so, so that's important for us. It's also important that our employees have the opportunity to reach their career dreams.
Yeah.
And so, which is why we started with the HCM Talent Suite,
Right.
So that we could deliver for our employees the information they need and their leaders the information to help coach them through their career dreams.
Right. Now, I asked Chris the question about innovations outside Oracle. I know when we talked before, you had a very interesting perspective on it, which I think would be helpful for the audience here. When I said, what do you think about as innovation, and how do you view it from a technology perspective, or maybe not a technology perspective, not to lead your answer, but maybe get a flavor for, in your position, being faced with these demands, very diverse workforce, very large, global, diverse workforce. How do you think about innovation? What's that you focus on?
I think it's on behalf of the employees.
Yeah.
We can integrate anything. We expect to have technical integrations, but it's more of an integrated experience for our employees, so that they are able to go to one place and do everything they need, whether that's to enroll their child in benefits, apply for their dream job, understand the competencies they need to get their career dreams met. So in my view, it's about them. And all of us should be working toward ensuring that our workforce have what they need to deliver on behalf of our customers.
I couldn't have said it better myself. All right, thank you, Faye. I appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, so you guys now get a sense of why I have customers. They speak so much more articulately than I do. So in particular, what Faye, very clearly spelled out, as I was talking about machine learning, different technology things, and bots and mobile, it really comes down to just that. In Faye's case, your employees, in some cases, your customers, in terms of delivering the end experience, no matter how it gets delivered technology, in the way they expect it, and what looks seamless to them. And so as I've been talking about different machine learning capability and bots, I think she said it probably best. It comes down to employees or customers don't care what the technology is. They care about the user experience and feel, and everything we're doing is trying to get to that in a seamless fashion. So thanks, Faye, for that insight, and the way of expressing that really is what we're trying to do. Let me move on now to shift gears. So I've covered core finance, EPM, ERP, covered supply chain manufacturing. We talked a little bit about HR, and now move on to CX, so sales, service, marketing. Again, similar type of themes that you're going to see across the board as everything else. A tremendous set of new features, and in fact, an acceleration of new features. And in CX this year, we've got a lot of focus on what we call CX Unity, a single perspective of all interactions, not just a single view of the customer, but all the customer and customer interactions, including external interactions, using external third-party data, completely tied in and integrated with sales, service, marketing, to not only give you a single customer record, but to add then intelligence on top of that customer record to drive better behavior from a sales, service, or marketing perspective. So you're going to hear a lot of talk about the improvements we have around CX and CX Unity to really bring these processes together. Because this is one area where all of us see it from the other side. We probably relate to what Faye talked about as employees, but as customers of everything we do, I think we see it in the barriers being broken down. We don't expect to deal with an organization as a service organization or a marketing organization or sales. We are customers and we expect that service. And CX Unity and all the features in CX are about integrating those features and components and driving you best behavior. And like every other area, added a tremendous amount of machine learning to it, again, on a back end to go from a input device to a suggestion device. Two quick examples. The first, an engagement cloud for sales and service, a brand new digital assistant. The ability, once again, through pervasive set of devices, whether it be mobile or any of the popular consumer digital assistants, to allow you to deliver next best actions or next best offers, to interact with an employee and best service their need, not based on rules like an old-fashioned FAQ that you had, but based on machine learning. Where the answers are better, we direct those answers more. Where the answers are worse, we filter those answers out. So a dynamic, model-driven, responsive digital assistants which takes advantage of every device's voice-to-text capability because it is client agnostic to deliver you a robust digital system for next best action and next best offers. And then on the marketing side of things, taking that exact same concept, both the combination of our CX Unity and the single source of truth across all interactions, but with that machine learning intelligence on it, adding to our already very robust marketing utilities to help make those marketing campaigns even smarter, and intelligent switching. So they allow you to do things like which channel it's best to target the type of customers. Do you want to target them via email? Do you want to target them via an SMS? Do you want to target a mobile ad, or perhaps buying AdWords or other? But also optimizing within that context and channel. Is it best to send Steve an email? Is it best to send Steve an email on Sunday afternoon? Is he more likely to open up it as Monday morning? What is the content he likes to see? And again, not a rules-driven where you have to decide and predict and then maintain what happens, but a model-driven area of marketing where the marketing application and the marketing campaign sort of self-tunes to move that forward. Once again, those are just two small examples. I encourage you to go see the different sessions on CX and talk to our customers. And now to talk to one of our CX customers, let me welcome on stage Mike Marcellin, the CMO of Juniper Networks.
Simple is harder than complex. Simple is a huge feat of engineering. At Juniper Networks, we have always believed that creating simplicity through engineering is the highest form of innovation. Our drive to reduce complexity helps our customers connect to everything and empower everyone in ways that will continue to change the world. Juniper Networks. Engineering simplicity.
Mike, thanks once again. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So, Juniper Networks, again, people probably, especially in the Bay Area, recognize the name and know a little bit about what they do. Maybe can you give a perspective of not only what Juniper does, but then your role and challenges as a CMO?
Sure, yeah. So Juniper builds networking and security solutions for literally companies around the world. And as the CMO, I get the pleasure of being able to tell the world about all the innovations that we deliver. But I also, maybe the challenge is that we have some much larger competitors whose marketing pockets are deeper than ours and whose megaphones are louder than ours. So we have to think about being super smart and very targeted with our investments. So part of what I do is figure out, what's going to give us the best ROI for the marketing investments that we make.
Now, I'm more of a techie guy, not a marketing guy, but as we've gotten into the marketing space and MarTech, I was amazed at the number of moving parts you need to do what I would consider a reasonably simple modern marketing campaign. When you and I talked, you could have a little bit. Could you maybe give the audience footprint of obviously what you use from Oracle, but maybe some flavor of the other moving parts that you have within that ecosystem?
Absolutely. I mean, I'll tell you, the MarTech world has just exploded over the last 5-6 years. I took over as CMO about 3 years ago and made really two big investments. The first one was data. Hired some data scientists, made sure we had a really robust data lake because that's at the center of everything we do. And since marketing is so digital now, we have a lot of data, but it's no good if you don't use it. So that was one big investment. And the other big investment was around MarTech and automation. And we had been using Eloqua for some years, but upgraded to the latest version and really made that the cornerstone of our MarTech stack. No technology vendor does everything that marketing needs to do, but you need to figure out kind of who are the anchors, and so that's really what Eloqua serves for us. Yep. And so when we're thinking about reaching out to a customer, the thing we have to remember as marketers is no one likes to be marketed to, which we can't take personally. But what they do want is relevant information given to them when they're ready to make a purchase decision or they're evaluating something. And if you can give them relevant information, then it's valuable. Yeah. And so that's really the challenge for all of us.
Well, yeah, that's what I always think when we talk to customers of Eloqua. It's I think people get annoyed when they're marketed to, but I actually don't think people are annoyed when I get a reminder and something I'm interested in buying or I get more information that's actually useful to me. I almost don't view it as an ad, and I guess that's the trick in your job.
Well, exactly right. So it's the old serving up the right content to the right person at the right time, and that's become increasingly. I mean, we know the world we live in is now very noisy, and we get a lot of information. So if you can cut through that clutter with something that hits at the right time, that's hugely valuable and will be well received.
Right. Now, and the good news about Juniper, you are obviously successful at the marketing part because you also use our CPQ cloud, right, in going forward to actually take orders.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, as a B2B company, the linkage between sales and marketing is kind of huge. In fact, if I am not highly aligned with my sales organization, then I'm not successful. And so, yes, we're providing some kind of over-the-top air cover, and marketing is the tip of the spear. But then when we're engaged with the customer, configuration, delivering price quotes, doing that rapidly, we've seen actually great improvements in the time to get that to our customers through standard configurations through CPQ. So it's really been a good 1-2 punch for us.
Perfect. So can you maybe give the audience a little bit of flavor of either lessons learned through the implementation, time of the implementation, sort of, hey, here are some highlights of what we liked going forward, or highlights that you didn't like, kind of how did it go as you moved to the cloud? And this is really sort of, not necessarily like in the other two examples, migration off per se, but kind of brand new areas.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, everything you said about the cloud is absolutely right. And I sit in an interesting seat because with Juniper, we're trying to deliver cloud solutions that help our customers move to the cloud. So we see that every day. And certainly as a company, our IT organization a few years ago implemented a cloud-first strategy, or a why not cloud strategy. So really we pushed all of our workloads, with a very few exceptions, to the cloud. And on marketing, it's really freed us up to be selective and pick and choose the right technologies, and then get them in a SaaS type of way. And so as I said, we were on Eloqua for some time, so that was a very seamless migration to cloud-delivered solution for Eloqua. CPQ is pretty new for us, so that was actually this year, and we have been going through phase implementations, and so far so good. It's been pretty smooth, and like I said, maybe because we had some old processes and some low-hanging fruit, but we've been able to see some real immediate benefits.
Yeah, that's not too uncommon, unfortunately, that, as people move forward. And I don't know if it's old process so much nowadays, is that things are changing so fast that processes just get old very fast.
Yeah.
That's where you get the benefit of speed of change.
Yeah.
So just as I talk to other customers, and again, take it outside of Oracle applications, we're talking about today's innovation, machine learning and things like that, foundation for others. What do you see coming, or what would you like to see coming from Oracle in terms of innovation? What are you looking for in terms of your business? Or what are you trying to innovate as a marketer? Well,
it was music to my ears when you started talking about machine learning, because I think that's really the next big frontier. If you think about, all of our customers are trying to deal with digital disruption. It's a board level issue for almost every company now. They're either trying to disrupt, or in more cases, they're trying to fend off maybe an upstart competitor and avoid being the next company or industry that's been disrupted. So if we can deliver them, again, real-time innovations and real-time marketing information, that's hugely valuable. So what ML could allow us to do is back to what I said. That high level of personalization, right content at the right time. I don't have enough marketers to create every single possible buyer journey and do all the A, B, C, D testing that I'd want to do. Yeah. But the machine can do it very easily, actually. And so that's what I'm very excited about, working with you guys and seeing what you have coming down the pike.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not a marketing person from background, but as more I got into it, I kind of watched Mad Men. I knew that kind of brand marketing. And when I got there and talked to people, it's like,
it's a lot like that.
Yeah, kind of. Well, except for the drinking part, I guess. But it's so much more scientific now and data-driven. Oh, sure. And obviously there's brand components, things like that, but it's very much a data-driven industry.
Well, and actually, when I took over as CMO, like most of the time when that happens, you take stock of the vendors that you're working with, and we looked at all of the MarTech stack vendors that we had and evaluated all of them, and why I chose Oracle to kind of as the centerpiece was, I think you guys had the most sophisticated view of data, and I knew that that's where the world was going. And obviously Oracle, the breadth of your capabilities across the company bring that to bear. But that was the single biggest thing. Different applications, different features, different widgets, but it was kind of what's the view of data as the centerpiece of marketing going forward, and you're absolutely right about that.
That's correct, and again, I invite all of you to talk to us this week about our CX Unity, because that's really at the heart of it. It's data and then intelligence around the data.
Absolutely.
Thanks again, Mike.
My pleasure.
Beyond ERP, HCM, CX, we've added a number of other applications. One that I like to highlight is in public sector, specifically a brand new set, which really just shows, hey, we've essentially completed the entire suite, and now we're getting into more industry verticals. You'll see this happening in our CX products, you see it happening in our supply chain products, obviously, and in really an application that spans CX and ERP, a brand new set for public sector and community development, allowing you to register permits and inspecting, to track planning and zoning rules and regulations and compliance, and code enforcement. So public sector organizations, not only do you have the complete set for ERP, and in your case, the citizen, not the customer part of CX, but now to add to that, sort of it spans a brand new set of applications around public sector, again, deployable in the cloud, best in class, which we really think helps customers achieve business benefit. And with all that said, a reminder, sort of in an oh, by the way, where we've done so much effort to add feature functions to the product, working with our customers to get those customers live, and you've seen a couple of them today transitioning. In addition to that, we have our platform as a service, a standard-based, robust set of utilities and tools that allow you or your SI or Oracle to extend your application, whatever that may be, in, again, a cloud-based fashion. So you could really extend the application through paths to take that last mile, if you will, to deliver value to your customers and upgrade off of your existing on-premise over to our cloud for all the reasons I've talked about before. And across the board, we are improving and putting tremendous focus on our overall cloud experience, or the cloud operations, adding deeper integration out-of-the-box capability, not only our cloud to other clouds, our cloud to third parties like benefits providers, payroll providers, improving and ratcheting down those times of updates. And I talked about the new schedule, giving you predictive updates, so now you can be guaranteed of when the new releases and when the new updates are coming out, and a host of other areas, but a tremendous focus on the maturity and the service element of these applications for cloud servicing. So, talk a little bit about why cloud, and give you hopefully a number of examples of speed of information, talk about a number of areas of Oracle investment, but why do it now? And the overall, hopefully what you've seen is we have now thousands of customers who've gone through this journey. And so this is no longer Oracle standing up here with confidence saying, we've built what we used to have in eBusiness Suite and PeopleSoft and JD Edwards and Siebel. It's we've built what we've had, and we've moved customers to it. Now including ourselves, Oracle internally. So Oracle runs all of our CX, sales, service, marketing, all of our EPM and ERP, all of our HCM, and just this year we went live on our supply chain manufacturing. So now I know people say, well, it's Oracle, of course you're going to adopt Oracle applications, and that is true. We didn't have a long vendor selection, but let me tell you, it is still work to implement and roll out these applications. We are over 130,000 employees. We are in essentially every country in the world. We are an on-premise software vendor. We are a cloud subscription software vendor. We are a reasonably large consulting services organization. We are now a hardware manufacturer, not only hardware for high-end assemble-to-order products like Exadata, but also for much lower-end, like point-of-sale products like Micros. So a reasonably sophisticated business, all on a single instance, all in the exact same cloud version of software, and in fact, the exact same data center, all with the same updates and cadence as all of our other customers. So when we say the why now, our confidence that all of you that we are ready to move is driven not from just our past experience of what the product has, but actual customer experience and living it ourselves, running our business on it. In addition to that, this year we introduced what we call our SOAR program, which is a set of pre-packaged utilities delivered together between Oracle development and our consulting organization, which help automate your upgrade. And we call this the last upgrade you will ever do. Because once you move to our cloud, you get those constant innovations, and we update the software for you. So it's a set of automated utilities and upgrade process to do data migration, giving you an estimate based on a defined scope on how much time, and giving you an estimate on the terms of the reduction of either integrations or customizations or extensions that we can build to migrate you to the cloud. Because our customers' biggest effort before this year, or biggest question, frankly, wasn't just, can this do its job, but it's tell me how I can get there with some level of certainty around time, cost, and once I get there, that I have an improved business process. And we've worked a lot over the last years and introduced this year what we call our SOAR, which together with Oracle Consulting is a prepackaged offering to help customers move across the board. So with that, as I said before, there's a number of other sessions coming up which cover these in much more detail, and you can get, if you want those 600 features, we've got them all, and we can list them and explain them to you and talk to you about all of them, and I encourage you to go to those as well as talk to other customers about it. And finally, hopefully, I don't know if I remember to remind people. Did I remember? OK. So I forgot to remind people. Well, anyway, if you were paying attention and you tweeted, I was supposed to remind people with the hashtag, we actually have two VIP passes for people in the audience. Do I have the names? To Wednesday nights, it is Wednesday, to Wednesday night's concert with the bands that you see up on board. 2 pairs. OK. So if those of you here, if you just come on up, you can get your VIP passes. Eric, is this right? Eric Erickson? OK. And AP Guha. I apologize for your names, but thank you for your tweets. And please come up. They are great VIP passes. OK. With that, just in closing, so again, I can't thank you enough for your time and attention today. I can't express to you the amount of passion you will see from our team just trying to service and make your businesses successful. I very much invite you to come talk to us. I hope you have a great conference, and hope to see all of you soon. Thank you.